Objection! Yes! We are here with Ace Attorney, or Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. Hello, Steve! I am excited. I know a little bit about this game. And God, Apollo has got to be one of my favorite characters in the series. How we doing today? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Oh my God, Naoki. Okay. Let's get to the game. Yes, Apollo Justice. And this guy. Okay. New game. I got plenty of water with me. Turnabout Trump. Turnabout Trump. What? Showdown time. You lose. Ah! Ooh. Ah! I seem to be in a bit of trouble. Something like that. Dead. Someone hit him. Hard. Me? Please. The cops should be here any minute. I'm in your hands. Should it come to that. Ah, yes, courtroom. April 20th, 9:37 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Apollo! Yay! Panicked. Palm sweaty. I can admit it. I'm nervous. Ah, good morning. Oh, you look like that other dude. Good morning, sir. You look tense, Justice. Wound up tight. Wound up, sir? No! I'm loose! I'm fine! That screeching noise. Is that your voice? I suppose it's to be expected. Your first trial, and it's a homicide. I guess justice doesn't start small, eh? I'm fine. I got up at 5 a.m. to do my Cords of Steel voice workout. I'm fine. Ah, that explains it. What the hell? I did detect a certain rasping quality to your screech. I ever did it again. Pass it to the next person in murder charges. As you know, your client today is a good friend of mine. Oh, we'd like to double it and pass it to the next person in murder charges. I wouldn't want to let him down, if you get my drift. Drift gotten, sir. I'm all over that drift. God, I love Apollo. As it happens, I dined with him the night of the murder. We can't let this case fall through. Yes, I'm fine, sir. One more thing. Don't say you're fine quite so much. People might take you the wrong way. Ugh. I'll I'll be preparing our case. You might want to introduce yourself to the client. I know about the first case. My name is Apollo Justice. If it isn't clear already, I'm a new attorney. And today is my first trial. Not that I'm worried or anything. The defendant has been accused of murder. My boss wants to help him out, of course, and so do I. I mean, there's no way he did it. Not him. No way. Hey, it's our boy! Whoa! Good, morning. Morning. It's all up to you today. First trial, nervous. Meeting him, cardiac arrest. God, I love Apollo. I think I'm supposed to say something. Help? So you're... Fine. I'm fine. Mr. Fine, is it? I did remember you having an odd name. Well, we're off to a great start. Are you sure you're okay? I mean, with me? Mr. Gavin is a top-notch defense attorney. And he's your friend, so why... You'll see. You can do it. Be confident. I'm really sorry this happened to you. I mean, it's time. Shall we? Yes, sir. Yeah, who's the hobo? Yeah. Okay, I need to focus. First trial, here comes justice. April 20th, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 2. The court is now in session. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is, fine. I mean, ready, Your Honor. Mind going blank? Don't panic. Too late. Your name was Mr. Justice? And this is your first trial? Yes, Your Honor. But I'm fine, really. Are you quite sure? Your voice sounds a bit strained. Mr. Gavin? Yes, Your Honor? I was under the impression that you would be heading up this case. That was my intention, yes. However, a defense attorney must always cede to his client's wishes. And my client specifically requested Mr. Justice. Well, of course he wants justice. But to entrust his case to this greenhorn, why? I do not exaggerate when I say that you're the best defense attorney in town, Mr. Gavin. Okay, so Gavin's got trial experience, fine, but does he have cords of steel? God, I love Apollo. Then let's begin. The defendant may enter the courtroom. This is truly an unfortunate turn of events. I'm sorry we had to meet again under these circumstances. Long time no see, Mr. Wright. Let's put the past behind us now, shall we? These days, I'm merely Phoenix Wright, piano player. Mr. Wright, how could this have happened? I won't speak of it further, then. If the prosecution would be so kind as to explain the charges, Mr. Payne. To think I saw you enter this room a fresh attorney, and now I see you leave in chains. Ah, Winston Payne. Subtle as ever, I see. Ahem. The crime occurred at the Borscht Bull Club, a Russian restaurant. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, took the victim, a customer, and he hit him, wham, on the head, smack, killed him cold. A customer at the restaurant, you say? And the defendant, you say he was? The pianist for the club, it seems. Phoenix Wright, a pianist? This is the weapon that took the victim's life, a bottle of grape juice. Grape juice is apparently our defendant's drink of choice. court accepts the deadly bottle as evidence. Okay, add to the court record. Something to note, Justice. All evidence is filed in the court record. Make a practice of checking it frequently. The court record. Right. I've heard of that. How did he grow actual hair? Who are you talking about? Use E to look at the evidence so far. I'm confident in your ability to handle this. Right, just use E. Sounds like it's time for some hands-on action. So, the victim was a customer at the restaurant. I like that you're everyone that you just put on makes me feel ready. Time of death was around 2 a.m., April 17th. Death caused by a single blow to the forehead. Oh. The sub-basement at the Borscht Bowl Club. Okay. Grape juice used as the murder weapon bears the defendant Mr. Wright's prints. Victim's name, Shady Smith, male. Estimated time of death, or Shady Smith. Age, question mark, male. Estimated time of death, April 17th. Between 1:45 a.m. and 2:15 a.m. Cause of death, cerebral hemorrhaging resulting from blunt trauma to the forehead. Okay. So the victim was a customer at the restaurant. But just who was this, Shady Smith fellow? We believe he was a traveler, Your Honor. A traveler? According to his passport, he had been out of the country for a number of years. He had only returned to this country recently, though his place of residence is unclear. And he had some sort of connection with the defendant. That, too, is unclear at present, Your Honor. We believe they first met at the Borscht Bowl Club on the night of the crime. If they had only just met, then why murder? Perhaps the victim slighted the defendant's piano playing? Oh my god. That doesn't appear to have been the case. No, the motive had nothing to do with the defendant's lack of playing skill. At least not piano playing. I'll let this photo explain what I mean. As we can see, a game of poker was in progress at the scene of the crime. Wait a second. Isn't poker gambling? That's a crime in and of itself. Indeed, it appears our defendant has fallen to become the basest sort of criminal. It is true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim, yet it was only that, a game, in the pure sense. A competition, Your Honor. Competition? Yes, a test of wits, a silent clash of passions. Only the cards, their backs wreathed in blue flame, know its final outcome. Come again? The cards on the table had blue backs, Your Honor. I believe the defense was waxing poetic in an attempt to mystify those present and impress women. What? That will be our first order of business here then, to find out more about this fatal game of cards. Papa. Very well, defendant. You will testify to the court about the poker competition held the night of the crime. My pleasure. This is it. My first trial. Here goes nothing. Competition. I'm a pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all. My real job is to take on interested customers at the poker table. The room where we play and the competition in there are the club's main attractions. The rules are simple. We play a game of poker using 2 decks of cards. That's all it is, a game. And our customers are happy. I need to get a drink of water already, oh my god. Okay. A pianist who can't play the piano. Better than a defense attorney who can't defend. Very well. The defense may begin the cross-examination. Right, Your Honor. First cross-examination. Don't blow it. Are you alright? You're sweating bullets. Bullets? Where? It's a figure of speech, Justice. Your voice sounds strained and raspy, too. My brain feels strained and raspy, sir. You've watched me perform cross-examinations many times. Though you've never done one yourself, have you? Care for a refresher? What to do? Should I ask Mr. Gavin for a refresher course in cross-examination? No, I've played an Ace Attorney game before. No need for help here, sir. I think I got this one covered. I think you better do more than think. You know it or you do not. Fine. The cords of steel are ready for battle. My weapons, press and present. Find any inconsistencies and any lies in the testimony and reveal them to the court. That is cross-examination. Learn it, know it, do it. Hey, Yuri! Inconsistencies? Lies? Phoenix Wright? As if! Phoenix Wright would never lie, and it's up to me to prove it. The defense may now begin the cross-examination. Oh god. It's gonna really hurt my voice doing this. Competition. Pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all. Hold it! You can hardly play? Oh, I play sometimes, when customers demand it. So I play them one song, that's usually all they want. Was that supposed to be a boast just now? The title of pianist is a mask, a respectable face I wear for the world at large. But why are you really at the Borscht Bowl Club? My real job is to take on interested customers over at the poker table. Hold it! They pay you just to play poker? That would seem to be the case. I am a professional, after all. Bah! Do I detect pride in that statement? It's just hard for an honest, hardworking member of society like me to imagine. Yeah, your imagination was always a bit limited, Winston. What? I played poker for 7 years in that little room, and I've never lost once. What? You see why the customers come now? Defeat the undefeated poker champion. It's quite a draw. That is, I'm quite a draw. Wait, you've never lost once? Not even one time? As I said, I'm a professional. Just played poker for 7 years and not lost once? Is that even possible? Okay. Okay, 2 decks of cards. 2 decks of cards. A simple measure to prevent cheating. If you all alternate 2 decks, no one can slip in cards. There's something else I noticed. In addition to the cards on the table, there are some lines scattered on the floor. Precisely. Cards on the table, cards upon the floor, each one forming a complete deck. A crime scene painted blue by a sad weep of cards. It's poetic, really. Incidentally, we use 2 types of cards at the club. One deck of cards was red and the other blue. As I recall, in poker you make 5-card hands. I could see how it would be easy to cheat. Heh. Yes, a game of hands. What? Okay. So you claim you weren't gambling. That's right, it was simply a game. You didn't bet any money, not even a little. The only thing at stake in our game was pride itself. Oh ho, well put, Mr. Wright. I've got a mind to play a hand of poker myself. The stakes, your fate. Can we get back to the trial now? I can't imagine Mr. Wright lying in his testimony. Isn't it a little early to be jumping to conclusions? This is your first cross-examination. Take it slow. If you need more information, don't forget to press. Right, I got it. I'm fine. Time to listen to that testimony again. I'm a pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all. room where you play in the competition. There are main attractions. I didn't press this one. The room in the crime scene photo is an attraction. It has quite a history, actually. The Borscht Bull Club used to be a gathering spot for black market types back in the day. What? Black market? All in the past. Things like the black market are only on the silver screen nowadays. Suffice it to say that there were a lot of deals being made under the table. Right there in that room. A smoky room, gambling hoods, you know. Just looking at this picture makes me feel bad. The bosses gather around the table, cutting deals, safe from the eyes of the law. Meanwhile, a goon keeps watch through the small window. I can practically picture it now. That window does look like it would be good for keeping a lookout, but little else. The room had a few other tricks to it, though it was common knowledge to irregulars. At any rate, they come to play poker in a room steeped in history. Despite the dark past, it was all just good, clean fun. This competition you're talking about, I believe the court understands the nature of the game sufficiently. That's right. It was a simple game after all. Are you sure? Huh? People are not murdered over simple games, Mr. Justice. Defendant, you were in the room the very moment that the crime occurred, yet you claim no connection to the crime? Now that's strange. What's strange? I was testifying about the competition that night. Asking me about the crime at this point is against the rules, Your Honor. Of course, I expected to hear a cry of objection from the defense. I completely let that one slip by. Don't despair yet, Justice. Sir? Right. There's something I'd like made clear. Namely, your connection to the case at hand. And I'd like to hear it from you. Sure, why not? Very well. The defendant will amend his testimony. Just one little press, and I've got myself a whole new testimony. Complete silence regarding the murder, but I will say I never touched the murder weapon.
Objection!
So you say you didn't touch the murder weapon. This grape juice bottle, right? So I said. Something the matter, Mr. Justice? Hee hee hee. Oh my god. Too bad our new defense attorney never learned how to play dumb. What's this, Mr. Payne? I examined the bottle in question, you see. It was covered with the defendant's fingerprints. Objection! No need to shout, Mr. Justice. I can hear you just fine. God, he's so cute. Excessive yelling can damage the judge's ears and our case. But what about my cords of steel? Anyway, what's so strange about fingerprints on a bottle in a restaurant? Well, that's true. The prints alone don't prove you did it. Oh, they wouldn't prove a thing if they were normal fingerprints. Huh? But the fingerprints on the murder weapon were upside down. Upside down? What does that mean? It means he was holding the bottle inverted, and there can only be one reason for that. Yes. To brain someone with the bottle. Ah! Mr. Gavin, I think things just took a turn for the worse. Oh, I see no problem, Justice. Huh? The only thing that matters is the truth. There's a good reason for everything. You'll see. Defendant, can you explain your fingerprints on this bottle to the court? I stand by my plea of silence regarding the murder. Phoenix! You're not making this easy. For now. Not very cooperative, are you? This could hurt your case. I'm sure he's uncooperative because he's hiding something. There must be a reason.
Objection!
Your Honor, you seem to have forgotten something. And what might that be, Mr. Gavin? On the night of the crime, who was it who reported the murder to the police? Reported? Well, that was the defendant, Mr. Wright, but still, that... really? Yes, well, according to the case file, the murder was reported from near the scene by a call from the defendant's cell phone. Near the scene? Let's take a look at a diagram of the murder scene, shall we? The victim was murdered in a small room in a basement 2 floors down from ground level. Of course, cell phones can't get reception so far down. The defendant used the stairs in this hallway to go above ground. The call came from the first floor of the restaurant. I see, and this is the phone that made the call? Oh god, a Nokia! God damn! This game old! Right cell phone added to the court record. The defendant should have just fled the scene of the crime if he so chose, yet he fulfilled his duty as a citizen and reported it to the authorities. And you claim he is being uncooperative. Nice save, Mr. Gavin. I better not waste this. I think the prosecution has toyed with our client enough for the time being. Toyed? I assure you, no one is more serious about... What was it you said? The defendant was in the room the very moment the crime occurred? How can you possibly know this? That's a good question. Oh god, wrong voice. That's a good question. How indeed? The answer is simple, Your Honor. The prosecution has a decisive witness. You're as good as they say you are. So someone else was in the room the night of the crime. That must mean they witnessed the crime. Everything up till now has been a warm-up, Justice. Are you ready? Very well. The prosecution may call its first witness to the stand. The witness will state her name and profession. Hold on just a moment. Where's the witness? I surmise that she has been frightened by the defense's demonic-looking horns. So I used a little hair gel. Relax, people. Have no fear. If any horns point in your direction, this court will cut them off. You are sure? I swear it on my gavel. Please come up. Isn't violence against hair a crime, Your Honor? Well, if you're sure it's okay. Ahem. Now, the prosecution. Well, wait a minute. Would the prosecution care to explain the witness's, paraphernalia? Yes. She is a professional, Your Honor. Those are merely the tools of her trade. And that would be... My name is Olga Orly. I'm employed as waitress in Borscht Bull Club restaurant. I can't do a Russian accent. I'm so sorry, Johnny. Then why the camera? Of course, it is my pride to serve borscht at his naming restaurant. But I also perform, how is it said, other service. I take it as these other services that is taking in the customer's pictures? Yeah, that. Like, for example, this one. I can't do accents. That's the defendant. Indeed, on the night of the murder, man in white hat is the one who had gone kaput. Indeed, that is the victim. I'm so sorry, Johnny. Order! Order! This is quite a piece of evidence, so casually drop into our laps. It is the same way as I drop cool bowls of borscht on laps of customers. Casually. What? Then the court will casually accept this new evidence. And Mr. Smith at the Borscht Bull Club. Oh! I have an idea of how the fingerprints got there. Usually, when you pick up a bottle like that, you hold it upside down. That's how they got put like that. Yeah. That makes sense. Usually you grab it by the, I don't know what it's called, but the skinny part. And if you're reaching down to pick it up, then it would be upside down. That makes sense, right? I think it makes sense. Now, witness. Where are you at the time of the murder? I was in room, the hideout we call it. Excuse me? The hideout? It is room where famous gangster bad guy was arrested. Is room where murder took place. What? Your look of utter surprise. It is lovely. I will post by courtroom door later for you. Photos will be numbered and you will write which ones you want a copy of. So there were 3 people in the room at the time of the crime. The victim, Shady Smith, Mr. Wright, and Olga Orley, our witness. And if Mr. Wright isn't the killer, that means... Very well, witness. You will testify to the court about that night's events. That fateful night. That night, customer asked me to deal cards for game. It was cold. Both players play with hats on da. The victim, he plays whole time with his hand on locket at his neck. Then last hand is done, but something terrible has happened da. The man flew at victim and is strangling him to death. That's not the cause of death. Incidentally, who won the game? Isn't it obvious? The winner was the victim, Mr. Smith. That's ridiculous. Because Mr. Wright can't lose. Justice. Maybe you can come up with a more legitimate objection? But he hadn't lost in 7 years. Take it from me, kid. It happens. I didn't lose a case my first 7 years as prosecutor either. Incidentally, I do have some evidence here. These are the poker chips as they lay at the very moment of the crime. Okay. The hand and chips on this side belong to the defendant, Mr. Wright. Those on the far side belong to the victim, Mr. Smith. Chips, you say? Duh, I mean, yes. Imagine that poker is war. Your hand is your army, and the chips are the spoils. I know that. After all, in my youth, I was known as the poker head of courtroom number 3. I think he means poker face. Looking at this picture, it does seem that most of the chips are on the victim's side of the table. Okay. Very well. The defense may cross-examine the witness. Okay, I already know what I'm gonna question, because the cause of death is not right. Okay. Played with hats on. The victim plays whole time with his hands on locket at his neck. His hand done, but something terrible has happened. The man flew at the victim and is strangling him to death. Okay. Present. The autopsy.
Objection!
Oh, really? Strangled, you say? That's odd. Duh, normal customers only choke on borscht. No, I mean, this report shows that the victim died of a blow to the head. Ah! Mr. Orley, really now, did you witness the crime? Yay! Was there a lobster in there? Looking at the picture, it doesn't seem like he was hit. He's still wearing his hat and everything. Yet, it is a fact that he was hit, Your Honor. Oh. Here's a photo we took of the victim with his hat off during our investigation. Well, that's quite shocking, isn't it? His head certainly was hit. So someone put his hat back on? Oz! Hi! Yeah, I'm doing well. It's been a long time. But I have seen it happen. The defendant, he lunged at victim's neck. Oh really, Miss O'Reilly? Is it O'Reilly or Orly? I think I've caught you in your own lie this time. Justice. I admire your enthusiasm, but perhaps you should think this through once more. What do you mean? I found a contradiction. There's one thing in her testimony that troubles me. Very well. It seems that we should continue the cross-examination. Such a thing as thinking too much. This horse is dead. Let's stop beating it. There's such a thing as thinking out loud too much, too. Oh, I said that out loud? Asked me to deal cards for the game. Okay. Why? You were dealing cards. Do you do this often? Yeah, I am doing this. If customer wishes it, I serve anything. Borscht, cards, more borscht. It is my work. It's good to hear of a place that hasn't forgotten the meaning of service. Welcome you to Borscht Bowl Club, where borscht is as warm as the waitresses. Thank you for not handing out flyers during the cross-examination. It was cold. Both players played with hats on, duh. Okay, that's not really relevant. The victim, he plays the whole time with his hands on the locket on his neck. His locket? I believe it was good luck charm, duh. He gripped it many times as he played that night. Yes, he must have felt as though it might carry him to the moon and the stars. Though if it were small enough to fit around his neck, it wouldn't have much lift. The defense would like a clarification. This is a locket we're talking about. I mean, a pendant with a picture in it, right? Not a rocket? Of course, I knew that. It was probably a pendant shaped like a rocket. That's why she called it that. No, a locket's a locket. Doesn't matter what shape it is. It's considered bad form to poke fun of the hard of hearing in our society. Hard of hearing or hard of understanding? So, what happened next? Then, last hand is done, but something terrible has happened, duh. After defendant tried to strangle victim, he hit him with bottle. Okay, let's press that. You didn't say anything about hitting before. This is so sorry. I must be forgetting this, duh. Witness, you will take greater care with your testimony. Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. And that clears up the discrepancy with the autopsy report, I believe. The defendant made to strangle his victim, then changed his mind. And chose a simpler, blunter means to do the job. Yes, that sums it up nicely. So he strangled him, then hit him? Something's fishy about all this. Go ahead, I believe you know what it is you need to do. Right, sir, leave it to me. There were only 3 people in the room at the time of the murder. The victim, Shady Smith, Mr. Wright, and... Then Mr. Wright isn't the killer. I've got you now, Orly. At night, the customer asked me to deal cards. Okay, hold on. I need to look at evidence. Okay. It's cold. Both players played with hats on. Okay, maybe I should have questioned that. It's already April. How could it be cold? At Borscht Bowl Club, we have pride in authentic rustic Russian restaurant theme. Outside it is city in spring, but inside it's always cold as Mother Russia. No way am I going there. When it comes to hot borscht, cold is best seasoning, duh? Victim, he plays whole time with his hand on the locket at his neck. Last hand is done, but something terrible has happened.
Hold it!
Something terrible? The defense will refrain from needless shouting. Yeah, Olga's sus. Sorry. I need to seriously reconsider this vocal training thing. Now, Miss O'Reilly, can you... I'm gonna call her O'Reilly now, because I think that's funny. Can you tell us what happened? Oh, I was so frightened that I was trembling with fear. After the defendant tried to strangle victim, he hit him with bottle. Hold on, can I save? Okay, that's backspace. G? Yeah, save. Because I think this is right, but I'm not sure. Lock it on his neck. The last hand is done, but something terrible has happened after the defendant tried to strangle the victim. Okay. Present this. He doesn't have any marks on his neck.
Objection!
Your Honor, that statement contradicts this evidence. It does? I don't see anything. Oh, okay. She's just Russian. Sure about that? Objection overruled. Try to think before you make accusations. Okay, yeah. I knew it. Okay. Okay. And the locket on his neck. The victim... Oh, the victim plays with the locket on his neck. He's not wearing a locket.
Objection!
You know, there was one curious part in her testimony, just like Mr. Gavin said. But what does it mean? Mr. Justice, would you care to explain what it is you're thinking so intensely about? Recall the testimony, Your Honor. The victim played with his hand on locket at his neck, I believe she said. I hope you aren't about to raise an objection to the witness's grammar. No, but look at this photograph. Do you see a locket on the victim's neck? Well done, Justice. I'm impressed. I knew you'd be able to handle this. But what does it mean? If we are to believe this witness's testimony as is, then the locket disappeared following the victim's death. Lockets don't just disappear, Your Honor. It's quite simple when you think about it. If the locket is gone, someone must have taken it off, no? Taken it off? Wait, you don't mean... The defendant wasn't strangling the victim at all. He was taking off his locket. Wouldn't that explain it? Defendant, what do you have to say to this? Oh, he is wearing a locket. Say. Yes? I just noticed this, but you have something hanging around your neck, don't you? Oh, you mean this? Yes, it's a locket with a photograph inside. A photo of my daughter. What? Who did Phoenix knock up? What? What? Photo of my daughter, okay. Come again? Mr. Wright, you have a daughter. We confirmed it at the time of the arrest. The picture in the locket is indeed Mr. Wright's daughter. Why did Shady have it then? So Mr. Wright has a locket too? Why don't I buy this is just a coincidence? Well now, if the results of this poker game led to the murder, perhaps you should hear a bit more about the outcome of the game. Further testimony won't really be necessary. It's clear the defendant lost. Badly. Mr. O'Reilly, you will testify to the court about the game played between the victim and defendant. Okay. Serious competition. The game began with, 3,500 points in chips for each man. Most chips come in two sizes, small and large. The one who was winning, it was the victim. For last time, defendant play with all chips on table and lose. The moment loss was decided, defendant grabs bottle from table and... Indeed, looking at this picture, it does seem to be a one-sided game. Hold on. Did she say how many points each chip is? I don't think she did. I'm gonna count that. It does seem to be a one-sided game. As the court knows, poker's was the defendant's life. Failure must have been a bitter pill to swallow. Yeah, I know the amount, but like, how much was each chip worth? Failure must have been a bitter pill to swallow. Yeah, in total. I'm talking about individually. Ah, how many times have I heard these words? I'd done it in a fit of anger, Your Honor, and now I regret what I done. A common tale, but true. Methinks the judge watches too many old courtroom movies. Mr. Wright said he hasn't lost in 7 years, so the testimony must be wrong. Yeah, she didn't. Okay. Game began. Points for each man. Okay. Are those the usual starting points? Were any special rules used? No, not special. Usual game, usual rules. If each man began with 300, then the total would be, exactly 7,000 points. Please, this isn't calculus. It's not even long division. Honestly, the judge was me just now. I suck at math. Okay. Small and large. Okay. How much are they worth? Are the chips in this photo all the chips that were used? Of course. Something's fishy with these chips. Should I press harder? Press harder! Maybe you could explain a bit about these chips. Explain? What is there to be explained? God, his objection. Poker chips are poker chips. They're not fish and chips, not even a chip off the old block, not a motorcycle cop or a... Thanks. Now when I pressed her, I better ask something. What are these chips worth? Are they in dollars or rubles even? Nyet. As I have been saying before, it was a game, not gambling. Yeah, but how much are the chips worth? Hard perhaps for capitalists to wonder. Oh my god. 2 types of chip, 100 and 1,000 points chip. What? There was way more than... Okay, hold on. Yeah, there's way more than 7 black chips. Okay, so if we assume the 1,000 point one is the red one, hold on, let's count the other side first. That would, okay, 4 is 1,000. I mean, 2,000. 2,000. What? Wait, 500, did they say? Oh, 100. Okay, I thought it was 500. I'm like, what? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 900. 200. 2,900. The victim was losing. Victim was losing. Okay. That's an interesting twist. So why would the defendant get mad if he was winning? Okay. It is not money, da. Justice. Sir, don't you find her comment interesting? In more ways than one, sir. I'll have it added to her testimony myself. Well, does the defense want the witness to add her testimony? Yeah, add it to the testimony. Yes, I do think this deserves further scrutiny. Add to the testimony. I wish I knew where I was going with this. I know where I'm going with this. Very well, witness, if you would be so kind. That, Your Honor. One kind of chip is worth in the other kind. She doesn't say what kind. Ooh, okay. Yeah, she's trying to cover something up.
Objection!
You're sure it was the victim who won? Absolutely sure. It seems our new attorney is a bit confused. A glance at the picture is enough to tell you who won. You're not in kindergarten. If you're not in kindergarten. Just for safety's sake, could you explain the problem to the court? Of course, Your Honor. In this photo, I see small chips and I see large chips. Tell me, which were worth 1,000 points? Why, the big ones, of course. Duh. Oh, I thought so too. But then the totals don't add up. The totals. Let's review what the witness told us. Each man started with 3,500 points in chips. And the combined total value of the chips was 7,000 points. Yes, if my calculations are correct. Let's see. 3 plus 1 carry the 5. Yeah, he's not bright. He's never been bright. They are, Your Honor. Now, look at this photo that allegedly shows all the chips. If the big chips are worth 1,000 points and the small chips are worth 100, and you add them up, how much is it? Do it yourself. You aren't in kindergarten, are you? 10,600 points. The chips don't add up. This clearly contradicts the witness's testimony. But why? How could this be? Exactly, Justice. Now that you know the what, you must determine the why. Right. There's only one possible way to explain this contradiction. Both were right. Each man began the game with 3,500 points. If all the chips are indeed shown in this photograph, then there can only be one answer. Well, what is it? The value of the chips was the other way around. What? Want to know what I think? The small chips were worth 1,000 points, not the big ones. Madness! Utter madness! Show me that photograph of the chips again. There are 6 small chips and 10 large chips. Why? That does make 7,000 points when you add them up. Excellent work, Justice. It's almost as though you figured it out by yourself. Wow, I did, bitch. Well, I'm just glad I was the one who said it. But wait! The value of the chips may be different, but that changes nothing. Indeed, the victim did have the larger numbered chips still. Ah! Exactly. If the small chips are 1,000 points and the large chips are 100, let's do a little math. Add up the points for each side of the table. The victim, Mr. Smith, had to... Oh. Okay. Well now, it seems that Mr. Wright was winning that night after all. That's impossible! My client had even less reason to kill the victim. After all, he was winning! Yeah! Now, Miss O'Reilly, you must have known the true value of the chips, since you were there at the scene of the crime, weren't you? Yeah, there's a lobster in there. What the hell? I mean, I don't know what borscht is, but I know it's a dish, and I don't think it has lobster in it. Order! Order! It appears our defendant has lost his motive. And Mr. Wright's supposed defeat never happened. We must now ask ourselves whether we can trust the witness's testimony yet. Excuse me, what is it, Miss O'Reilly?
I did not want to be saying this, but actually, you see,
See what, Miss O'Reilly? What do we see?
in the last hand, there was cheat.
A cheat? You don't mean a trick? Wait, or do you mean a scam? We're all the same thing.
Yes, there was cheat in last hand. That is why game ends with chips as they are.
Great, just great. First we have lying, now cheating. Well, this case certainly has taken a turn for the interesting. Witness, you will please testify to the court. Tell us about this cheating in the final hand.
The last hand, both men had full house. There is 4 of each card in deck from ace to king. If you look at both men's hands, cheat is more obvious. The next moment, game becomes argumenta. The defendant's trick was exposed. He took bottle in his hand. Poor Mr. Smith.
Miss O'Reilly, why did you not tell the court about this from the very beginning? I thought I smelled a cover up here. Well, folks, it's time to throw back the covers. A full house is a very high-scoring hand. Not easy to make in my experience.
That alone is enough to suspect less than scrupulous tactics.
Mr. Gavin, what's a full house? Oh my god.
Lawyers these days, you don't even know your poker?
What? What does that have to do with being a lawyer? I can't say this bodes well for your case or career. What? What is this, some kind of secret court poker ring? Justice. You know the terms 1 pair, 2 pair, and 3 of a kind, yes? Yeah, no problem. 2 cards with the same number makes a pair, and 3 makes 3 of a kind. Good. Now picture a hand with 1 pair and 1 3 of a kind. That's a full house. That doesn't sound very easy to make, does it?
You can see each player's hand in this photo.
Wow, they both have full houses. What? Wait, what? Did I miss? Oh.
We forget, there's an easy way to make a full house and go undefeated for 7 years.
Long on the sides and a cowlick and a bald head. No, you do not want that.
You cheat.
Ahem. The defense may cross-examine the witness. If he did cheat in the last hand, that still leaves one important question. Mr. Wright lost that hand. Who's ever heard of a professional con man losing when they cheat? The final hand. Okay.
The last hand, both men had full house.
Okay.
There's 4 of each card in deck from ace to king.
Okay.
If you look at both men's hands, cheat is more obvious.
Hold it!
How is it clear?
Well, the defendant, he played a 5th ace.
5th ace?
I still remember both hands very well. Mr. Smith's hand had 3 aces.
Oh.
And Mr. Wright's 2. Obviously, cheating was afoot, or perhaps I should say a hand.
Your Honor, perhaps this can be added to the testimony without Mr. Payne's joke. Very well. The witness will add this detail to her testimony, please.
Mr. Smith's hand had 3 aces and Mr. Wright's 2. It is 5 aces in all.
Okay. A 5th ace.
Ah, it should not exist, no. I still remember both hands very well.
Okay.
Mr. Smith's hands had 3 aces. And Mr. Wright's had 2.
Well, where did this card... Well, there were 2 decks. Where did this card come from, then?
Perhaps we should ask the defendant that very question. Adding cards to a deck is no less serious a taboo than forging evidence in a court of law.
Now, perhaps it's time for you to say something, Justice. You bet. I have no intention of staying quiet. Not me, no sir. I better find some contradicting evidence fast.
The next moment game becomes argument, the defendant's trick was exposed.
Why did it become exposed? Oh, why would he purposely do that, though? Because it would be obvious. You recall what the men were arguing about.
Yeah, I believe so. The victim, he shouts, "You are cheater," and then the defendant shouts something like, "I have objection."
Shouting objection.
Shouting objection, eh? Old habits are hard to break. First he bluffed his way out through the courtroom, now he bluffs his way through life.
However, Mr. Wright lost the hand. That seems to cast a shadow of doubt on Mr. Smith.
Humiliation from losing even when cheating. That is what set fire to the defendant's heart.
So what did the flaming defendant do next?
He took bottle in his hand. Poor Mr. Smith.
By bottle, are you referring to this?
Nah, the defendant used this bottle to... Oh. This behavior is an admission of cheating by the defendant.
But why use a grape juice bottle?
You'd be surprised what you can be used as a weapon. This juice is recommended drink of Bosch Bull Club, da. This year's vintage is remarkable for its hefty flavor.
Hefty enough to brain a grown man, apparently. First she says it was a serious competition, now she says there was cheating. Justice, notice anything odd? Her testimony keeps changing. Now she says the defendant cheated. Actually, yes, I had noticed that. Let's get to the truth about this cheating first, shall we? Right, leave it to me. Okay. You can't question that. There's 4 cards of each, okay. 4 of each card, you say?
Ah, there is 1 spade, 1 diamond, 1 heart, and 1 club for each card. It is interesting fact that this number 4 comes from number of seasons.
Huh? You don't say. Ah, did you know the cards are numbered 1 through 13? Add the cards in the deck and you get 364, a year. Huh, you don't say. Isn't that 1 day short?
That's why each deck has 2 jokers. They say the second joker stands for the leap year. Thus you have a perfect representation of the year, all in a deck of cards.
Is this true? Huh, you don't say. We're gonna be in this courtroom for a year if it keeps going like this. Okay, so it's not important. I thought so. Okay. A 5th ace.
Ah, it should not exist, no. I still remember both hands very well. Mr. Smith's hand had 3 aces. And Mr. Wright's 2.
Well, where did this card come from then?
Perhaps we should ask the defendant that very question. Adding cards to a deck is no less serious taboo than...
Oh, I already said this? Okay. Okay, it's 5 aces in all. Wait a minute. guys. There's only 4 aces at the murder scene. Ooh. Saving. Okay, present.
Objection!
What? Okay, apparently that wasn't right. It should be, though. Am I too far ahead of the game? It's 5 aces in all. Okay. Present. Am I winning? I think so. Oh, in this one it said there isn't okay.
Objection!
Yes. It appears the witness is mistaken.
Mistaken? But my name...
Look, this piece of evidence clearly contradicts what you said in your testimony. That's the photo of the chips, is it not? Justice. Perhaps you ought to explain your point in a way the judge can comprehend. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. I need it. In other words, use your finger to point out your point. Yes, I will use my finger to object. Oh, Flip Mask, thank you for the follow. To point out your point. Yes, please point out the contradiction in this photo. What particular point contradicts the witness's testimony? This. Oh. Sal, thank you for the follow.
Take that!
Why, it's here, of course. It's where? Where's that your— what? Where, good question. Wait, what? Oh, I did the wrong one. Whoops. Okay. This one.
Take that!
There we go. Miss O'Reilly, in your testimony, you made the following claim. Mr. Smith's hand is 3 aces. But as you can clearly see, the victim's hand only held 2 aces.
Eee! Well, maybe the witness was simply confused.
Perhaps it was the defendant's hand that held the 3rd ace in question. Take another look at the evidence. As you can see, the defendant also had 2 aces in his hand. Where's the 5th ace? I see cheating, all right, and it's going on right here in this courtroom. 2 aces in each player's hand does make 4 aces total. Hardly proof of cheating.
Wait, please. It is true. I have seen it. The 5th ace. There was cheating, I swear to you.
That's odd. She must be lying, yet she's the most sincere I've seen her all day. You're right to trust your instincts. Mr. Gavin? Who knows what lies in store for us in the trial ahead? Your Honor, if I may, I have a suggestion. What might that be, Mr. Gavin? If you don't mind, perhaps we might examine the actual cards. Ow, why do I bonk? Why the bonk? The cards. Mr. Payne.
Yes?
The player's hands at night were set aside as evidence, were they not? The defense would like to request that the cards be shown to the court. Okay. Very well. The prosecution will submit this evidence. Which will you examine? The victim's cards or the defendant's cards? I'm saving. Okay, these cards don't prove cheating was going on. Nothing will. Now, which of these hands is more suspicious? The victim's hand. Because she's pointed out that that one had... Yeah. It's the victim's hand that changed over the course of the witness's testimony. The defense requests time to examine Mr. Smith's cards. Very well. Mr. Payne, if you would. Very well. Received evidence. Victim's hand. Well, time's a wasting. Get to it, Justice. Yes, sir. Oh. When examining evidence, be sure to view it from all sides and angles. Try using... Okay, to turn it every which way and be... Those are very weird controls. To zoom in and out. That should give you a better perspective on the case. Okay, let's do this. Oh! 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 Oh, 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 oh. What? Your Honor, look at this! One of the victim's cards. The back is a different color. Yeah, something's going on, alright?
That's impossible. But I put that card in Wright's hand. Ah!
Oh, ooh, oh really? Ooh. What was that, Miss O'Reilly?
No, Nit. I'm nearly said, da, I have...
Your Honor. Mr. Gavin, yes? Tell me, what was the easiest way to cheat at poker? To cheat? I'll tell you. One merely needs a friend, a comrade, shall we say. The dealer. Wait, so you mean... This witness, Miss O'Reilly, she's the cheater. A professional, I'd wager.
Yeah!
Order! Order! Focus, Justice. Time to take advantage of her. I mean, of her mistake. Wait, what? Apollo, what did you mean by that? Okay then. Your Honor, please recall the testimony we just heard. Put that man in jail.
That's impossible. But I put that card in Mr. Wright's hand.
Ergo, Olga O'Reilly conspired to cheat, not with my client, but with the victim, Mr. Shady Smith.
Oh!
Not only did she cheat, she cheated poorly. Therefore, it's not hard to imagine an altercation between her and the victim.
What?
Wait, you don't mean... The defense isn't accusing the witness, Mr. Olga O'Reilly, are you? Time for justice! There were 3 people in the room at the time of the incident, and if Mr. Wright isn't guilty, that means... I am. The defense accuses the witness, Mr. Olga O'Reilly, of murder. Do I?
One done for the Fairly Odd Parents.
Kind of.
Pikachu! Pikachu! Pikachu!
Thank you.
Okay. Eek!
Did she pass out? Mr. Payne, where is your witness, Miss Olga O'Reilly? It was better than the original? Aw, thank you. It appears she has lost consciousness, Your Honor. Mr. Justice, Your Honor. It seems you presented a new possibility to the court. One suggesting a connection between the witness and the victim, Mr. Smith. And that means this court cannot pronounce a verdict for the defendant at this time. What? I did it! I held out! I see no point in prolonging the trial this day. The prosecution will need to make further inquiries.
Objection!
Mr. Wright? You can't end the trial here, Your Honor. Not yet. What nonsense is the defendant spewing now? Think. One of the cards had a different colored back. Don't you wonder what it means? Well, what are you doing, Mr. Wright? Raising objections right when you're about to get off the hook. Ridiculous! That was too much... What? Hold on. Do I have the volume down too low? I think I do. Yeah, I don't know what I sound like.
Pikachu!
Mr. Payne, you of all people should know. Mr. Wright has a talent for the ridiculous. Perhaps we should get to the bottom of things. Let's clear up the facts about the game that fateful night. I need to turn down the volume again. As was said before, we alternated between 2 decks of cards that night. That was said before! The 2 decks at the club have different colored backs. Blue and red. 1 color per deck. Why use different colored backs? If we use the same color, the 2 decks might get mixed. You use different colors and they still got mixed up. We used the red deck for the last game. I see, but that's odd. For some reason, I have this impression that you were using the blue cards. Yeah, me too. Sure, someone said something about blue cards. What? I just had a realization, but I don't know what it means. Kristoff said twice that the cards being used were blue. Maybe he was just looking at the evidence, but that seems... They're pointing it out right here, so that's a little weird. Whatever, in the end, 1 card of the wrong color got into the mix. Which means there was cheating. Yes, the card slipped into the deck would seem to indicate cheating. Yet this card raises 2 serious questions. Apollo? Yes? Let's consider the first question, shall we? Think. In the last game, when was the card swapped? When? There are 3 broad possibilities here. It could have been swapped before the murder, during the murder, or after the murder. I'm thinking. I'm trying to I'm thinking after the murder, but could it be before?
Well, yeah, thanks for the news bulletin, Mr. Wright. Of course it was swap. Oh?
It might be as simple as you think, Mr. Payne, or it might not be.
Nah.
I'd like to hear what Apollo thinks first. Okay, I'm saving. I'm pretty dumb. Okay. I'd like to hear what Apollo thinks first. When do you think the cards were swapped? When was a card swapped into the deck? After the murder? No, it had to have been before the murder. Because that's what... No. That's what O'Reilly said. And assuming she's the killer, she had to have been lying. Perhaps it happened after the murder?
Well, what's that? Ridiculous. What's the point of cheating after the hands have been shown? That's silly.
Yes, but tell me, how do you swap cards during the game? I'll take silly over impossible.
Take it from me, son. There's a lot of silly in this world, but very little impossible.
Oh, even when the backs of the cards are a different color? If you pulled that during the game, you'd be caught in no time. Oh. Oh yeah, because because the opponents would only see the back of your cards. Oh. Yeah, that makes sense. Ah, quite true. That would mean that the blue card in question was swapped after the hands were shown. After the murder.
Okay, this is going past silly and straight down to crazy. I ask again, what's the point of cheating after the game's over? Who would do that?
Who indeed? That's one of the mysteries before us.
There's another.
Oh, whoops, wrong voice. There's another. Yes, a simple yet decisive question must be asked. Who swapped the red card for a blue card? Who? The game and murder is done. The victim is dead. Only two remain in the room, alive that is. The defendant Phoenix Wright and our witness Olga O'Reilly. Okay, so who was it that swapped the red card for blue? I just have a gut feeling. I have a gut feeling. Just because they pointed it out, I'm starting to get suspicious of a certain person. Someone else. The one who swapped the cards wasn't Mr. Wright, of course. And well, it doesn't seem like it could have really been Olga O'Reilly either. Well, what are you suggesting? It's hardly a logical conclusion, I'll admit. As a defense, I think it only makes sense for you to name Miss O'Reilly at this point. Yes, I know. But she was the one who dealt the cards, right? I just can't believe she would make a mistake of swapping the wrong color card. And if the card was swapped during the game, it'd be obvious. Heh. Something you'd like to share with the court, Mr. Wright? Oh, my apologies, Your Honor. I was just thinking about how much fun this all is.
Fun? How about confusing? I have no idea what the defense is claiming, Your Honor. If the one who swapped the card wasn't the defendant and it wasn't Miss O'Reilly, then who was it?
Yeah, well, that is the question, isn't it? Precisely. Huh? I believe we're about to see this case take a new direction. A new direction? We'll find that indeed after the murder. Someone swapped one of the cards in the victim's hands. And that someone made two critical mistakes. I'm sure you're going to tell us that the first was swapping the wrong color card. Because the one who did... two colors of cards were being used. Oh. It's Kristoff. Mr. Gavin. I'm calling it. He's the killer. I don't know how. But earlier he made comments about how the cards they were playing were blue. And why is he looking like a bum? Because he's not a lawyer anymore, I guess. He also has a daughter, apparently, and I'm like, who did he knock up? Life has been rough for him, apparently. Yeah, he's probably divorced, yeah. Because the one who did... Yeah, I'm calling it. It's Kristoff. It's Mr. Gavin. You didn't know two colors of cards were being used. The other mistake was the number on the card. Right. The person replaced the fifth ace with a king. I'm sure whoever swapped it wasn't expecting there to be a fifth ace after all. All they knew was that the game had been won with a full house. So they picked up a king from the table and swapped it in. But there's one problem. According to our case record, this person doesn't exist. True, not until now, but you have to admit the possibility of a fourth person. Though it's more than a possibility. There was someone else there that night at the scene of the crime.
What?
I believe the judge spoke truthfully earlier. You do make trials ridiculous, Mr. Wright. Yeah, it's you, Gavin. I know it's you. This trial is proceeded on one central assumption. Namely, that at the time of the incident, there were only 3 people in the room. I believe this new evidence, shall we say, overturns that assumption? The problem is that you chose to conceal this information from the court. I suppose that is a problem, yes. Court is adjourned for a brief recess. Mr. Gavin, I'll see you in my chambers during this recess. Certainly, Your Honor. Very well, the trial will resume in 20 minutes. Okay. April 20, 11:52 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. That was quite unexpected, Mr. Wright. To suddenly claim there was another person at the scene of the crime like that. I must ask, is it the truth? Well now, I think you would know the answer to that. Oh, he's calling him out. Ah, being mysterious, are we? Sadly, I have no time for mysteries. I'd only ask that you leave the defendant to your defense in the future. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the outcome. I see you haven't mellowed out one bit, Kristoff. Justice. Yes, sir? The judge has summoned me to his chambers, so carry on without me. You did well, Apollo. Can I ask you something? Sure. That locket you wear, is that really yours, Mr. Wright? Ah, you're wondering about the victim's disappearing locket. Here, you can take a look at it. That's a picture of my daughter in there. Aw, she's cute! She's a little magician. I'm just surprised to hear you had a daughter. Most people are. Perhaps you'll meet her one of these days. One more question. The one who cheated that night, was it you? What do you think? Huh? You know what happened 7 years ago. What I did. It's not unreasonable for you to think I might cheat. I never, honest, but it is odd that he managed to go undefeated for 7 whole years. Wanna know something? There's only one game where you can be dealt bad cards all night and still win. Poker. Huh? You see, poker is all about reading your opponent. In that way, it's a lot like a court case. Poker is like trial law. Figure out what your opponent is thinking, and you win. Well, yeah, but that's harder than it sounds. I think not. Try as they might to conceal it, everyone reveals their true thoughts in the end. Their body language can become a valuable source of information. You're kidding! That witness, for instance, Miss O'Reilly. She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? No. Come on, who noticed that? Words, habits, twitches, it's all information for the reading. That's the secret to winning, Apollo. Someone taught me, and now I pass the secret on to you. But I'm not worthy. I mean, there's no way I'd pick up on all these signals. No, you can do it. Huh? You just don't know it yet. What's he talking about? But you will. Soon. Ah, almost forgot. One more thing. About this case. You should know, I haven't told the truth to anyone yet. What? I knew it! I have my reasons, of course. All shall be revealed. And Apollo, I need you to be there defending me. I need your power. My, power? I had no idea my cords of steel were that special. It's time. The real trial begins now. Do your best. To be continued. Yeah, save my progress. Yeah, next chapter. April 20th, 12:14 p.m., District Court, Courtroom number 2. I need some more water. My voice hurts. Or my throat hurts. Doing all these male voices is difficult. Sorry, I'm just looking at something. Stretch Judge Nim. Yeah. Judge's voice is the most difficult. Thank you for the head pats. Okay. I want to stream longer, but my throat really hurts. Oh, you couldn't? Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, because you started right before I started. No, I can continue streaming. I just can't continue voice acting. Doing this voice is really difficult. Okay. Court will now reconvene. Well, let's see about that. I think we'll end Ace Attorney for now. Okay, bye YouTube.